Let's be real for a second. AI is everywhere, and honestly, it can be pretty overwhelming. Even the smartest, most capable people I know feel like they're just constantly trying to play catch-up. Well, this explainer is designed to fix that. Let's get right into it.
So I read this story recently that just hit the nail on the head. A super successful consultant was at dinner with a friend, and she just admitted, you know what? I feel completely lost whenever AI comes up. And the crazy part? She said pretty much all the high-level executives she works with, they feel the exact same way.
So, does that sound familiar at all? Do you ever find yourself in a meeting just kind of nodding along while people throw around AI terms, but you're not really sure what's going on? If that's you, you are definitely not alone. And the reason you feel that way is actually surprisingly simple.
Here's the big secret. The reason AI is so confusing is that it's not one single thing. It's a catch-all term. Think about the word sports. If I just say I like sports, you have no idea if I'm talking about baseball or basketball or curling, right? To get it, you have to break it down. And it's the same exact thing with AI.
So, to make this super easy, let's use an analogy we can all get behind. Ice cream. Now, there are a million different flavors of ice cream out there, but they all start from a few basic recipes. Today, we're just going to focus on the three main base flavors of AI that are changing everything.
So what are these three core flavors? They are machine learning, large language models, you've probably seen that as LLMs, and the new kid on the block, agentic AI. Let's break them down one by one.
First up, machine learning. The easiest way to think about this one is as the pattern detective. Now, this isn't about a computer thinking like a person. It's about a computer being incredibly, almost supernaturally, good at finding patterns in massive, massive amounts of data. The perfect analogy is learning to ride a bike. Remember that? You get on, you wobble, you overcorrect, you probably fall a few times. But your brain, through all that trial and error, starts to recognize the patterns of balance. And then it just clicks. Machine learning is basically that same process, just supercharged with a ton of data and math.
And this has some seriously powerful real-world uses. During the pandemic, New York's Department of Labor used machine learning to hunt for unemployment fraud. The system found a pattern that no human would ever spot. A bunch of different claims, all filed from the same IP address for people who supposedly lived in 5 different counties. That pattern detection saved taxpayers millions and millions of dollars.
Okay, on to our second flavor, large language models, LLMs. This is the one you've definitely heard of because it's the engine behind tools like ChatGPT. Let's call this flavor the conversation partner. The best way to picture an LLM is to think of a veteran New York City cab driver. They've never formally studied urban planning, but after driving the city streets for 30 years, they have an uncanny intuition for the best route to take at 5 p.m. on a Friday. LLMs are like that with words. They have processed so much text from the internet that they've gotten incredible at predicting which word is most likely to come next.
And here's where that becomes a superpower. So somebody had this dense 12-page federal document full of jargon, and they needed to explain it to their team. Instead of spending half their day trying to translate it, they just pasted it into a tool called Notebook LM and asked for a summary that a high schooler could understand. Boom. Hours of work done in seconds.
And that brings us to our third and final flavor, agentic AI. We'll call this one the task completer. And folks, this is where it starts to feel like we're living in the future. Because this kind of AI doesn't just give you an answer, it actually goes and does things for you.
Here's the difference in a nutshell. A regular AI, like an LLM, might tell you, it's raining outside. But an agentic AI will tell you, it's raining outside and I see you have a meeting across town in 30 minutes, so I've gone ahead and ordered an Uber for you. See that? It connects different steps to get a job done.
And this isn't sci-fi. It's already in the works. There's a pilot program that uses agentic AI to help with customer complaints. The AI reads the incoming complaint, checks it against all the relevant rules, and then helps the human staff figure out exactly who needs to handle it. It makes a super complex process way more efficient.
Okay, so we've got our 3 flavors of AI. But why does knowing the difference actually matter so much, especially right now? Well, a really powerful way to frame this is by looking at it through the lens of public service, thinking about how we can use new tools to serve people better. I mean, just think about the scale for a second. A private company can pick and choose its customers. But if you're a public servant in a place like New York State, you're responsible for almost 20 million people. That means everyone, from the most tech-savvy person in Manhattan to someone in a rural area who's barely online. And that comes with some really unique responsibilities. Number 1, any AI tool you use has to be fair and accessible for everyone, period.
Number 2, you're handling incredibly sensitive data, so privacy and security have to be absolutely ironclad. And number 3, you have to spend public money wisely on tech that actually solves a problem, not just on the latest shiny object.
So after all that, you might be thinking, okay, where do I even start? And here's the best part. You don't need to become a coder. Think of it like a car. You don't need to know how to rebuild the engine, but it's really helpful to know what the different parts do, right? It's the same idea here. So here is your simple 3-step starter kit. First, start using AI as a thought partner. If you're stuck on a problem, just ask it. Hey, give me 5 different ways to approach this. Second, try a tool like Notebook LM to do something practical, like summarize a long article or help you draft an email. And third, just experiment. Start with simple questions and see what you get back. The most important thing is to just start.
And that brings us to what I think is the single most important point of all. The goal of this technology is not to replace our judgment. It's to amplify our humanity, to enhance our thinking, and free us up to do the work that only humans can do. It's why you always need to keep a human in the loop.
This all leads to one final crucial point: our shared human responsibility. This whole thing is a balancing act, right? We have to figure out how to embrace this amazing innovation while staying true to our core values.
And I see that as a twofold duty. First, there's our individual responsibility, which is just to be curious. Can you find 30 minutes a week to just play with one of these tools? Then there's our collective responsibility. As a society, we have to develop thoughtful policies to make sure these tools are used with transparency, with fairness, and with real accountability. So we'll leave you with a question to think about. Now that you know the 3 main flavors of AI, and you have a better sense of why they matter, how are you going to approach AI in your work? What's your next step going to be?